Hi, folks, and welcome to the Entrefluential Training Company presentation of how to build a profitable coaching business. I'm your host, John Tanner, and this is a live workshop where we're going to go over 8 steps on how you can build a thriving hospitality consulting, coaching and consulting business. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and open up my slide deck, and we're going to get right into it. So this is the first time I'm actually using StreamYard to do a live recording. So if I blunder or make some mistakes, I ask that you bear with me because I am learning as I go. I'm using 2 different systems. I'm using StreamYard to broadcast this live to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I'm going to be showing the slide deck that I created yesterday for you guys on a program called Canva, and I absolutely love Canva. Okay, so first thing I need to do is share my screen. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm going to open up my comments here real quick to see if you guys can see that. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm going to assume that you can and just go ahead and proceed forward. Okay, so the name of the workshop is How to Build a Profitable Restaurant Coaching Business. And this was created by, so we used to call ourselves the Entrefluential Life. Sebastian and I, when I say we, I mean my son and I. And we decided to change the name to the Entrefluencer Training Company, which is more symbolic of what we intend to do with our company, with our vision. So the Entrefluential Life is the title of our podcast, the Entrefluential Life Podcast, and we are trying to live an entrefluential life. And by that, we mean entrepreneurs who are aspiring to inspire and influence others to have the best life personally and professionally, which means physical, mental, and spiritual wellness on the personal side, and then entrepreneurship building skills on the professional side. And along that vein, the professional development side, I decided that I wanted to start training new coaches and consultants so that I could bring them on board with Coleman Tanner Consulting, which is a department within Coleman Tanner Realty, to work with restaurant owners specifically, but this could also be used in the context of working with other small business owners to provide them with information that would help them professionalize their business. And by that I mean operating systems, standard operating procedures, frameworks, all so that they would operate their business as an enterprise level system versus a mom and pop shop. That's step 1. Step 2 would be helping the company grow from a 6-figure enterprise to a 7 or 8 or 9-figure enterprise. And that generally happens by using micro M&A, which is mergers and acquisitions, to horizontally and vertically. Horizontally means grow multiple locations. Vertically means add value by adding in different things that will help you improve your annual income, your EBITDA, and then have a succession plan to exit the business. That's step 3. So our intentions professionally is to help small business owners grow and scale their business to enterprise levels, and then exit nicely so they can go on and either do a new venture, retire, whatever it is that the entrepreneur endeavors to pursue. Generally speaking, me being a serial entrepreneur, I can speak from experience. I get bored and I want to start new projects. I love creating new things. I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, is being a creator. And so I would imagine that most people who are listening to this would be in the same group, the same tribe. You want to go ahead and create new projects, new business entities, and so forth. And so with that background, we're going to go ahead and move into this one, which again, I'd like to reiterate that my intention behind creating this content is to help you become a restaurant coach or consultant, and maybe even a restaurant business broker, which is what my niche is. My specialty, I've decided to hang my shingle, or I hung my shingle a while ago in January of 2020. I opened up Coleman Taylor Realty. And then over the last 4 years, I've been trying to figure out what my niche area is going to be in real estate. And having owned a real estate brokerage business for these past 4 years, but having been a real estate appraiser on the predominantly on the residential side, but I've done commercial work as well. I have appraised over 500 houses. And when I say I have appraised over 500 houses, I am including my team of appraisers that I had in the past. And I've been in and out of so many homes myself, houses, condos, mansions, tiny little homes, mobile homes. I've just seen a lot of real estate on the residential side. And then I started getting at the end of my career in the decade that I worked in appraising, property valuation. I started diving into commercial real estate appraisals and commercial real estate sales. And it piqued my curiosity. And then I went on and went back to college and pursued advanced degrees. And so these past 4 years, I figured out that where I'm going to hang my niche, focus my concentration, is because I have a master's degree in hospitality management and a law degree. I decided that I'm gonna focus on working with restaurant owners. And so that's my specific niche area. But I want to hire commercial real estate business brokers who will represent small business owners and medium-sized business owners, possibly. I mean, that's a tall order, because that's, generally speaking, a medium-sized business is like earning 100 million plus revenue, EBITDA. I don't know, well, maybe not EBITDA, but maybe 100 million to 3 billion in gross sales. And so they generally work with very mature, very sophisticated and really robust companies to sell those businesses through investment bankers, for instance. And so my target audience is much smaller than that. Small business owners, less than 100 million, typically less than $25 million in gross sales. Maybe $1 million in EBITDA would be 1 to 5 million is my target market. 1 to 5 million in EBITDA. For those of you who know what that means. But for those of you who are here and this is all new to you, I have a lot of connections with residential real estate agents across the United States, and even a few around the world. And so for those of you who have are kind of lost, right? You're like, what does this mean? What is all this that I'm talking about? This is new lingo, new jargon. Then this right here will be step one of introducing you to a new world of possibility, a very lucrative world of possibility. And I'm going to show you how lucrative it is inside of this presentation, inside of this workshop. I suspect that we will go for about 45 minutes. I'm a talker. I was a teacher for almost a decade after working in the valuation business, appraisal business. And so I apologize in advance for being a little bit long-winded. And again, this is my first time doing this presentation, so I haven't had the opportunity to get granular with it, to cut out the, what they say, trim the fat, cut out the extra language to be concise and brief. And so I aspire to do that later on down the road. So let's get into this presentation. So I like to start off a workshop with a question. And my question is, what do you think is more important? A, restaurant coaches who can help owners get started with their restaurant business or even revamp their current business. Revamp means like, rebrand it, reconcept it, switch it out and turn it into a different type of restaurant. Or B, restaurant consultants who can help hospitality business owners navigate constantly changing customer preferences, sophisticated trends, technological advances, and hospitality laws and regulations. That's where my law degree comes in. The answer is both. The answer is definitely both. These are both important, equally important. And the reason why I brought this question up is because I think A, is the coaching side of the business, which would be like helping restaurant owners DIY projects, do it yourself, or do done with you type projects, And then the last one, B, is the consulting side of the business, where you are actually doing things for them, done for you, services. Okay, so here's a case study. And let me see, I think I had a script here. I don't know if I can open it up. This is one of those challenges with using. Okay, so let's see if I can open it up over here because I can't do it there. Okay, so this is one of those technical difficulties. I have the notes for this on the phone that I'm projecting this video on, so I can't read my script for this case study. So if you want to read the case study that I have for this, I will email it to you if you email me at john@colemantanner.com. But the gist of this case study is this is a character named Dave. He's a restaurant owner, and in his business, he has an issue where he needs to rebrand and franchise. He has a contract renewal with the franchise that he's a franchisee of. And so in the case study, we go through 4 different sections, which is a precursor to what we're going to cover today. So in the first meeting, he hires this franchise consultant named Lisa that was referred to him by a friend. And Lisa, in the first meeting with Dave, she wants to understand what his vision is, the challenges that he's currently facing, and what his new goals are for the rebrand. In the second meeting, she goes a little bit further, and she wants to do 2 things during that meeting: investigate and interview. She'll interview him, and she'll interview his entire staff, or a sampling of his entire staff if it's a really big company, right? So that she can see what's going on the inside and get a feel for the culture inside of the business, and find out from the boots on the ground, if you will, what's going on in the business. So if he has waiters, then he's going to ask those waiters, what are they experiencing internally and externally? So internally meaning among the staff, among the leadership, and externally among the customers and the vendors. And then in the third meeting, after conducting this investigation, after doing this research, in the third meeting, Lisa and Dave are going to work together to co-create a new strategy for the rebrand. And so that strategy, that development that they'll work on together, usually about 4 hours consultation, but could be longer. The preliminary consultation will take about 3 to 4 hours for them to come up with a comprehensive business plan to launch the rebranding of Dave's restaurant. And then in the final meeting, the 4th meeting, before they actually get into transaction, she's going to do a presentation of her business proposal to him. And that's the engagement, right? So if he agrees, he'll sign an engagement letter, she'll collect payment, and they'll move forward with the consulting assignment. So she's going to, in that presentation, she's going to present him with the elements of the franchise that are worth keeping and the ones that need a fresh look. Maybe some changes need to be made. Lisa is also going to guide Dave through the complex process of negotiating that new contract, because there's always going to be a unequal bargaining power with the franchisor, especially if they're a large business like Subway or McDonald's, versus a small franchisor who's only has maybe 3 or 5 locations, and they're very eager to grow their business, so they're more willing to give on contractual terms. So she'll highlight, redline certain things in the contract that he should push back on, or his attorney would do, so that his intentions, his goals, and what's in his best interest are aligned with the revamp of the brand, so that he can achieve his long-term objectives and establish this new brand identity. What would be entailed in that is the marketing that's going to take place and so forth. So that's the case study in a gist. So, what are the challenges of getting started as a restaurant coach or a consultant? And there's three things that we have heard from, when I say we, me, from my research, right? Number one, this is online research. Number one, the first challenge is that you need to be an expert in an all around restaurant management, which means operations, management issues of the client's business. That means financial management, cost controls, customer service, training, hiring, and so on and so forth, dealing with vendors, vendor management, and so forth. Challenge number two is that restaurant consultants require industry expertise, problem solving skills, and innovative thinking. And challenge number three is you have to anticipate future trends and challenges so that you can help your clients proactively adapt and shift to consumer preferences. So here's my welcome note. Thank you for coming to this live workshop, or if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching this replay today. If you're looking for a solid plan on how to start your restaurant consulting business, then I think you're in the right place. In this hopefully enlightening presentation, I'm going to unveil 8 magical steps to crafting a flourishing restaurant coaching enterprise. Here's what's included in this presentation: how to productize coaching and consulting services, how to build a targeted prospect list, how to map the sales journey, crafting a compelling sales pitch, how to build a functional website, how to track your numbers, how to develop your coaching skills, and maybe a little bit more. This is a quote that I found from Virginia Woolf, and it deals with the restaurant industry. One cannot think well, love well, sleep well if one has not dined well. And so that speaks to the importance of restaurants, and one of the reasons why I'm fascinated with becoming a restaurant consultant myself, and providing those services and being a restaurant broker, business broker. Why this and why now? The restaurant coaching and consulting and business brokerage business is booming. And by booming, I mean baby booming. According to the 2022 Small Business Profile from the SBA, there's over 3 million small businesses in Florida. That's where I'm located. The 2019 U.S. Census indicated that Florida had 78,742 businesses in the hotel accommodation and food service industry. That was 2019. We're in 2024. That is a huge number of businesses. In an article posted by U.S. News on May 22nd, 2024, which is just a few months back, the article is titled "The Fastest Growing Places in the U.S. in 2024 and 2025," which is right now. Florida made 10 of the top 25 cities. So if you're thinking about relocating to Florida, or if you're already in Florida, you're in a great place to do well. Okay, the silver tsunami. If you haven't heard about the silver tsunami, it's a term that's used to reference the approximately 10,000 baby boomers that are reaching age 65, which is retirement age, right, for Social Security, every single day, 10,000 per day, and it's going to continue on. These people are going to be reaching retirement age every single day for the next 6 more years, right? We're in 2024, all the way through 2030, 10,000 baby boomers are hitting 65 every single day, which means there's a huge group of people that are getting ready to retire, and the ones who own businesses are going to need somebody to help them sell their businesses. That means there's going to be a whole bunch of new restaurant owners and other small business owners who are acquiring these businesses that need help to run these businesses. And that's where you and I come in as coaches and consultants and business brokers. We can help sell those companies, we can help people buy those companies, and then we can help them manage those companies. So how is this a huge income potential? It is a huge income potential because out of that huge, ginormous group of baby boomers that own businesses, 2.34 million of them, 2.34 million own small businesses across the United States. And now think about this. There's only 11,411 business brokers across the United States to service 2.34 million business owners. So if you were to equally divide, right, we're talking about market share. If you were to equally divide all of the businesses that could potentially be coming up for sale on a daily basis, 2.34 million business owners over the next 6 years, if you took that 2.34 million and divided it by 11,411 business brokers, each individual business broker would have 205 potential companies to sell. Each person would have 205 companies to sell. It's impossible for you to do 205 companies in 6 years. I mean, not even in your entire career are you going to probably not sell 205 companies. If you sell 10 companies per year, you're doing fantastic, let me tell you. Fantastic. So there is a ginormous opportunity for you to get in and work either as a consultant or coach or business broker in this industry, in the small business space, business brokerage space. But we're narrowing it down to restaurants for, specifically for me and some of the people that are going to come work with me as business brokers and consultants. But there, like I said, this is a huge opportunity for working as a business broker for any type of small business, whether it be working to help sell somebody's appraisal company or real estate company or training company or hair salon or medical spa. There's so many different types of businesses that you can specialize in and do very, very well throughout your entire career in this industry. And if you're a restaurant owner and you're thinking about retiring, you want to sell your business, go do something else, you could come and take that experience and apply it as a coach, consultant, and business broker and make a beautiful living working banker's hours. So let's take a look at some sample earnings here, right? So a coach and a consultant in Florida doing restaurant, specifically restaurant coaching and consulting, the average income is $74,723 as of 2023. $74,000 a year as a coach and consultant working baker's hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or whatever you want, and from wherever you want. If you want to do some coaching and consulting from the beach, you take your laptop, you can do that. So restaurant brokers, according to We Sell Restaurants, which is a franchise, they earned in their average earnings of restaurant brokers selling companies. They sold 10 companies and earned $30,202 per transaction for a total of $273,251. So the potential income from being a restaurant broker is $273K. So you have a potential of going from $74K to $273,000. That is huge. You could do both. You could start off working as a restaurant coach or consultant or small business coach and consultant, and then build up your brokerage transactions, right? By getting referrals and doing marketing and so forth, and sell these companies. You could be earning both of these incomes at the same time as a broker and as a consultant. Huge income potential. So what is the difference of coaching and consulting? As I iterated before, coaching is helping people with do-it-yourself content. So like this, for instance, if I created a workshop that educates people on some of the things that they need to know about running their restaurant, right, or cafe or whatever it is in the hospitality space, you could create workshops and provide that online where they pay whatever, 25, 50, 100 bucks to access the information. They learn a skill because it's skill building. They learn a skill and they're doing it on their own time on demand. So that's one form of do-it-yourself content that you can create as a restaurant coach. The second thing is done with you content, which is where you are working along with them. Maybe you meet once a week to go over the processes that they're doing to take on a new role as a restaurant owner or as an operator, which could be a manager. Let's say that somebody bought a pizzeria, they hired a restaurant manager. The restaurant manager doesn't have any prior experience running a restaurant. And so you come in as a coach, restaurant coach, and you guide them on cost controls, hiring processes, chef selection, and so forth. So that is a done with you type of thing that you're doing, coaching them along the way. Let's say that you have you could have a 12-week program where you're coaching them for 12 weeks, once a week, twice a week, whatever you agree on to get them ramped up. Then the other type of coaching or shift over from coaching to consulting is more like a done for you type of an assignment where they tell you, okay, I need help with my bookkeeping and accounting and income and expense statements and balance sheets. And so do some pro formas. I need you to do these reports for me and send them to me on a weekly basis. So that's kind of a done for you type of activity, or even doing a feasibility study for a new project that's coming forth, or you have a consultation with them and you to figure out how to rebrand their restaurant to something new, to reinvigorate it, to innovate it, and to attract a new audience to the business that has been lingering and slowly dying because it's out of date. So that's a few different examples of the done for you type of consulting assignments. So you wear both hats, the coach and the consultant hats, in this type of space. And so I may refer interchangeably to coach or consultant. And what I really do mean is that you possess the same skills to do either of these activities. They're just a matter of the scope of the work that you're involved with. Okay, so now we're going to go over 8 steps to launch a restaurant coaching and consulting business. So in steps 1 through 4, the first step is to create a menu of products and services. Step 2 is to create and manage a prospect list, which is what I'm working on myself. I'll show you an example. Here's, if you can see on my screen, this is a prospect list of a bunch of restaurant owners in Orlando, Florida, that I'm intending to reach out to for my prospecting, so that I can get some coaching, consulting, and business brokerage contracts, listings. Number 3, build a website. Your website is going to be your front-facing store online where they get to know you, like you, and trust you, and see a menu of products and services so that they know what you offer and how you can help them, right? What's the return on investment? What are you offering to help them with? Can you solve their problems? Can you help them achieve their pleasures, their goals, their desires? All right, so you build your website. Number 4, you write sales letters. You're going to write your sales letters, whether they be for email or direct mail outreach, so that you can reach out and say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I do. Step 5 is going to be map out your ideal client avatar. That's ICA. How do they proceed from step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to conducting business with you? Number 6, create smart sales goals. Number 7, oops, went too far. Number 7, build or join an industry or a community group. This is for outreach. This is for more outreach and marketing and networking so that you can get referrals. And then number 8, work on your coaching skills. Because the more you sharpen your saw, the better you're going to get at it. So here's a little bit of information about us. I started off with creating, so I was a teacher, right? I became a teacher in 2009. I became a substitute teacher, although I did a little bit of, was that in 2008? Well, my first foray was, gosh, about 20, when I was 20 years old, I was at Pensacola Junior College, and I went into elementary, middle, and high schools to shadow the teachers when I was doing intro to education. But I decided I was too young. I was too close to the age group of the students I was with to become a teacher at that time. So I put that off in the back burner and was pursuing other interests. And I became a substitute teacher in 2009 and then a full-time English teacher in 2011. And I taught until 2015 when I came up here to go to law school. And while I was in law school, I worked as a substitute teacher. And then after law school, went back to full-time teaching again a couple different times, 2 or 3 different times. And then I decided I love teaching, but I want to teach adults. And so I started creating my own content. In 2015, while I was in law school, I started creating real estate training courses for residential real estate. And the first course that I created was called Residential Real Estate Mastery Blueprint. It was like 6 different sections long. And I had over 55,000 students, over 60,000 students, I think, in 121 different countries. So that was the first course that I created. And then I went on to create some additional classes. And at some point, I created with my son. My son lives in Boston, and I wanted to interact with him on a weekly basis. So I created, him and I together, we created what's called the Entrefluential Life podcast. And that's where we conveyed personal and professional development training on our podcast show. And then we started creating content to go along with it, like the 10 pillars of entrepreneurial success and so forth. And in that time, I've also been writing books. I started writing books in 2012. And so I wanted to combine kind of the two things, that these two containers, or these two silos, if you will, the book writing and my real estate business, as well as the Entrepreneurial Life podcast and that personal and professional development. And so we came up with the Entrefluencer Training Company just recently, just about a month ago. And so we created a new logo for the company. And so we still have the Entrepreneurial Life, and that's our podcast. That's the name of our show. And that's our tagline for our social media channels. It's Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. And but the professional company name now is the Entrepreneurial Training Company. And our vision is to empower new coaches, consultants, and business brokers in the restaurant industry, but also in small business ownership. So here's some pictures of us with the podcast. You can see Sebastian and Michaela, his girlfriend, and I here at Cooper's Hawk in Jacksonville, Florida. Here's a logo of my company, Coleman Tanner Small Business Consulting. Up on the top is the Coleman Tanner Commercial, which is a department of Coleman Tanner Consulting. Of Coleman Tanner Realty. Coleman Tanner Consulting and Coleman Tanner Commercial are departments of Coleman Tanner Realty. And then here's some courses that I've created. Up course, and that's available on Udemy. The 10 Pillars of Entrepreneurial Success, which is a project I'm still working on. And down on the bottom, there's a few different iterations of the Entrepreneurial Life podcast logos. The purple one there is the one that we currently use, the Entrepreneurial Life podcast season 3. We're taking a break from the podcast. We're going to come back with season 4. We decided to take a pause so we can rethink and reshape we're going to do a rebrand maybe. But I love that logo, so I don't know if we're going to use that again on the next podcast or not. We'll see. And then here's some other projects that we're working on. Entrepreneurial Media Productions. There's a 21-day mind hacking challenge that I launched in the beginning of the year, this year and last year. And I could hope to continue to do that at the beginning of every year, the 21-day mind hacking challenge. And then here are some of the books I wrote. Faithfully was the first book I wrote. It was a romance novella. It was actually the second book I wrote. The first one was called A Book Worth Writing, and it was a guide to publishing your first online ebook through using kdp.amazon.com. Then I wrote Entrepreneurial Networking and Real Estate while I was right out of law school. I think in 2019 I wrote that, followed by Love at First Time Homebuyer, which is a homebuyer guide. And then I wrote the Entrepreneurial Broker. Then next to that is a short course workbook for how to use micro M&A growth strategies. And then the red book at the bottom right is my new publication. That is the Bespoke Startup, which I published about a week or two ago. So that's online on Amazon. And then the one to the right of that is it's a book for Christian life coaches, and that's still a work in progress. And the final picture to the right is just my 3M system, which is movement, morning, motivation, and mindset. So doing some meditation. I think those 3Ms help you. I start my day off every day with those 3 things, and I think that they would help anybody to get focused and clarity, get your body in good shape, keep it in good shape, and then pursue your professional endeavors with your planning. So, which is mindset, and having a positive mindset is very important. And then right there in the middle, you can see Sebastian and I in our podcast show. All right, let's get into the 8 steps. So step 1 is create a menu of products and services. So what you want to do is you want to create some coaching products. Like you could have assessments that your client would take, so that you can figure out what's working and what's not working in their business. Then you could offer some one-on-one coaching packages to help guide them through resolving those problems that they have or achieving the goals that they want to achieve. You could also host small group workshops where you invite a whole group of restaurant managers or aspiring restaurant owners and educate them on the processes that they would have to go through to either revamp their business or start a new business or whatever it may be that you're going to be covering in the workshop. Like this workshop, but it could be for, like, let's say financial management of restaurants, for instance, or strategic operations, strategic management, strategic planning, or service operations management. You know, there's a lot of different things that you could talk about. So, let's have it, like, let's say a dozen of different topics that you could have workshops on. So you could do one a month, and you'll have content for a whole entire year. Then you could do quarterly innovation masterminds where you pull a small group of leaders restaurateurs. And let's say that you got 10 people and you go on a cruise for the weekend to the Bahamas, and during that weekend excursion, you spend some time, a couple hours in a conference room with the 10 people, and you innovate. You come up with strategic plans for future growth, so that those you could orchestrate those masterminds as a consultant. You can also do annual leadership retreats where you pull a group of other consultants and coaches, and you go away for a retreat where you rest, recharge, get grounded, right, and talk and plan and brainstorm how to grow your business. Then you could also do industry conference keynotes. You could speak at specific events in the restaurant industry. There's a lot of things happening around the country and around the world, and so you can go and present new information that you have that would be beneficial for your audience, and you can earn money for doing that too. I would say that you probably would want to offer that for free in the beginning, so that you can build some rapport with the people that organize and facilitate these types of conferences. And then if they like what you do, they'll pay you to come back. So that's one way of getting out there as a consultant, as a speaker in the restaurant space. And then you could do breakout sessions during those conferences as well. And that's another good way to get started, is maybe offer to host a breakout session where you drill down on a specific area that could be beneficial for restaurateurs that are there at the conference. Let's lean towards how to use cost controls in your restaurant today, right? And so anyways, here's some examples of packaging those products on your website. So you could have your sample product 1, initial client diagnostic intake session, sample product number 2, your startup restaurant owner coaching package, sample product number 3, quarterly innovation masterminds, and then sample product number 4 is sample group meetups, or small group meetups for restaurateurs. So here's a few product tips. If you're going to do this, you're going to create some products to offer your coaching online on your website. You want to use easy to understand descriptions. You want to use appealing images like the ones that we just saw right here. Appealing images that captivate the interest of the viewer, the website visitor. You want to deliver value, and that means you need to speak to the ROI. What's the return on investment for a restaurant owner if they take that package, if they purchase what you're offering? And then I also recommend that you create a 3-tier pricing distribution, so that they have options, so that you reach different people in different places. So you may have one restaurant owner that has 5 different restaurants, and so they can afford the premium service that you offer. Then you have somebody in the middle, maybe they only have one restaurant, but they're doing good, and they can afford to buy the deluxe package that you're offering. And then somebody who's just getting started may be bootstrapped, they're very tight on funds, and so you would want to offer them something that they can get in the door with, so that you can work the relationship and help them out. And then as they grow and have better financial status, then they can move up to the deluxe and to the premium. So you're leveling them up, you're moving them up your pyramid in your coaching products and services. As for your consulting services, here are some samples of products that you can do. And what is it that restaurant consulting involves? Well, you're going to be helping owners or operators, which could be the owner or could be a manager, to do these things like launch restaurants, to launch a brand new franchise, to either franchise their current concept or to become a franchisee of somebody else's franchise concept, like buying a Subway or McDonald's or Taco Bell. You can help them improve operations and profitability. You can assist them with exit and succession planning, which I talked about at the beginning of this presentation, which is to help them sell or to pass on ownership of the business to their successor, which could be a child, could be their son or daughter, could be a niece or nephew. It could be somebody completely outside of their family, but maybe somebody who's working and has become like family to that person. They're the assistant manager, and now they're going to become the manager owner, right? And they could do different types of they could structure the financing of that business in different ways. They could use an SBA loan, or the owner could finance it him or herself, which I think is going to happen a lot in the next 6 years, because there's approximately 70% of the businesses that are going to go up for sale are not going to sell because of the inconsistencies in the marketing process of selling businesses. There's only a few different websites, like Biz Buy Sell is one of the main platforms for selling businesses, and so just because of problems in conveying the businesses that are available for sale and finding qualified buyers is such a challenge for these buyers, for these sellers, I mean, that the baby boomers, that I think we're going to see a lot of creative financing being offered in order to make the transaction happen so that they don't end up shutting doors down and just losing that value. So as a consultant, you can be hired to help facilitate that exit strategy, that succession plan. And restaurants consultants can either work on an ongoing basis or on an as needed basis. So like project based, right? I need you to do this one thing, right? I need you to help me revamp my menu. Okay, that's a project based activity. Helping them onboard a new manager operator is maybe a long term program that could last 3 months, it could last 6 months, it could last a year. So there's this different type of length of the contracts that you can collect from work with the owners and operators of these businesses. So here's 4 different types of consulting assignments that I wanted to share with you in this presentation. Number 1, menu development and pricing. What you would be doing here is you're going to help them determine the menu items that they should be offering for their location and the audience, the people who live in that community, who would be attracted to this concept, right? And what are the prices that the market can bear, right? Because the objective of a restaurant business is the same as same objective as any other type of business, whether it be landscaping or running a spa. The objective is to make a profit. And so you need to look and see how much profit you can make. The most profit, maximum profit is the highest and best use of your business. So what's the maximum profit that the market will bear? You need to find out what's working in the marketplace, what people are willing to spend on products. And that could be conducting surveys to your existing client or to communicate with other restaurateurs and see what's working for the other restaurant owners in other areas to get an idea. So like maybe there's a market in Jacksonville that's similar to the market in Tampa. And so you could have those conversations and figure out how to price according to what the demographics are in that surrounding area of the successful location in Tampa so that you could replicate it in Jacksonville, Florida. Let me take a sip of water here, if you don't mind. Bear with me. Thank you. I apologize for that. Financial planning and cost management. So as I mentioned earlier, you could be preparing income and expense reports and balance sheets, and you could be applying cost controls for cost management. For staffing and customer service, you could help them establish the hiring criteria, such as what kind of experience does your chef have an eye for detail? Are they creative? And do they have a pleasing personality? So those kind of staffing issues that you can work out and help the owner of the business find the right people for the job. And then brand and concept design. So this could be for a brand new concept, or it could be for a rebrand, or for let's say an owner of a franchise that's going to go ahead and remove themselves from the flag, which happens a lot in the hotel industry. Maybe they were paying for let's say a Comfort Inn Suites franchise, and now the contract is expiring, and now they're gonna hang their own name on the hotel, and so now they need to rebrand and conceptualize what their brand is going to be now. What's the name of the company? What's the name of the hotel? How are they going to create new menu items and a new website and everything that goes into removing that Comfort Inn brand name from all of their products and services that they have inside of their business and coming up with something brand new. So you can help with that brand concept, branding and designing, and marketing is involved with that too. You could, well, here's marketing. So this is another thing. So you can provide them with guidance on how to manage their social media, the frequency and the reach, using paid advertising like Facebook and Instagram ads and YouTube ads and TikTok ads. I mean, there's so much different ways to do multi-channel marketing. And so you can help the business owner conceptualize a plan, explain how the multimodal, multi-concept, multi-distribution of your marketing is important in order for you to maintain top-of-mind awareness. So you can speak to them about that. You could do a competitor analysis where you're looking at the marketing and the features and the pricing and the audience of the top 3 competitors for your client, and help them do some strategic planning around having new competitive advantages so that they can have better market share. Chef selection is really for the chef, and that is coming up with things like a new tasting menu or a multi-course meal is very popular. And those are the items that are selected by the chef, and they usually are revolving around specific themes. So like the fall season, you see the pumpkin ravioli come out, and the pumpkin pie or pumpkin cheesecake. Those kind of items come out in the fall season. And so those are types of chef selections. So you can also help with that if they don't have a formal chef, so to say, in their business. Then you could step into that role and provide that type of coaching or consulting. And then we have strategic planning, and that's a big one. So you have the two main things of leadership. Well, there's 3 main things of leadership, I think, is managing your people, managing your process, which is operations, people and process, and then innovation, right, which is coming up with the next best thing, the avant-garde, because we live in a dynamic world, not a static one. So whatever is working today is not going to work tomorrow, and it certainly didn't work in the past. What's new now was innovative for the past, the people of the past. And so as you can see, like these McDonald's and Burger Kings and Wendy's go through revitalization over and over again. You can see how their styles have changed over the decades. Those are good examples for you to follow. So strategic planning is to look into the future, to scan the remote environment, see what's trending in other areas, other industries, and formulate a new strategy to apply some of those new avant-garde things that are happening in the world that are appealing to people into your restaurant or your hotel or whatever your hospitality industry is, where your client is working, and help them to productize those ideas into ways that they can make money on it, into new profit centers, or what we call competitive advantages. All right, so that was all. I know it was a lot, but that was step 1. Step 2 is to create and manage a prospect list. So here are the steps broken down into prospecting. Number 1, you want to define your ideal clients. That could be startups, it could be mature business establishments, restaurant establishments, or it could be companies that are looking to rebrand because their franchise contract is expiring and they don't want to be captured under a franchise contract. They want the freedom to do things the way that they want to do them. They want to call all the shots and not have to partner with a franchisor. And so those are opportunities for you to work with as well. So in your outreach, you're going to find out those issues when you do your initial client diagnostic. Step 2 is to create a content calendar where you can batch your posts. Like what I'm doing right now is I batch content twice a month. I do it on the 1st and the 15th, or right around that, maybe the 2nd and the 16th. And so you'll batch 15-day increments of posts for your social media. And so you'll have it ready to go on your phone, your tablet, whatever you want to use. And every day you distribute. You can even set it up on a calendar, on an automated system like Hootsuite, for instance. There's different programs out there that you can use that you upload everything all at once, and then you schedule it, and it just automatically distributes it across your different platforms, which simplifies social media management for you. And at some point in the future, well, you're being hired as a consultant to create this content, but you could have somebody, even a virtual assistant overseas, that does your social media management for your consulting business. They create the content and they put it on the calendar, right? And you're just delegating it to your assistants to achieve the goals. Now you're going to do some quality control to make sure that it's on point for your client, right? That you're meeting all of the objectives of what you and your client have agreed to. So That way you can expand your services to serve a wider audience of people. But generally speaking, if you're just doing this on your own, you want to batch content out twice a month for a 15-day increment. Number 3, you need to showcase your expertise. And by that, you can share educational content just like this, right? What I'm doing right now. You can replicate exactly what I'm doing, create workshops that you host online, go live, or have it on autoplay. Basically, when you upload it to like this one here, after this is completed, it'll stay on YouTube, and people can go back and watch the replay over and over again. So it's there. It's like a silent salesperson working for you 24/7, 365. And this is a great way for you to establish a rapport with people and to establish authority, right? Because you're sharing educational content, you're adding value to them because they didn't know how this worked, whatever the topic is, and now you've educated them so that they can take that information and apply it to benefiting themselves and their clients in the future, right? This is really for targeting your clients, right? So the restaurateurs, restaurant owners, and so you're pulling them into your sales funnel. Really is what you're working on doing, and you can showcase your expertise by also sharing client testimonials, which is a good thing to do on your website and on your social media. Number 4, paid advertising. So I highly recommend that you do not rely exclusively on organic content. You need to push that content out through paid advertising. And you can do that on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. I don't know if LinkedIn, actually, I don't know about LinkedIn if they offer paid advertising, but certainly Facebook and Instagram, and certainly YouTube, and certainly TikTok offers that. So there's a couple of other different programs I think you should use. Get to know Promulta for boosting your YouTube videos as well is very important and can be very beneficial to you. So paid advertising. And then number 5, direct mail. I highly recommend that you start with direct mail because the people's inboxes and their email boxes are just loaded down with content. And so people have information fatigue. They don't want to go through 100 emails. And so they may, like me, I've got 30 emails on my phone right now that I have to go through that I've been pushing off for the last 2 days over the weekend. I didn't want to be reading emails all weekend long, but I have to go through this content. If it's not urgent or not important, it gets pushed to the side. And so you'll find a lot of people, especially restaurant owners, because they're very busy, you're going to find that they don't have time to go and read these emails from you. I do recommend that you send them out because there's about a 25% success rate in converting clients, cold prospects from email. So I do recommend that you do email outreach, but I highly recommend that you do direct mail outreach to these restaurant owners in order to pull them into your sales funnel so that you can build some know, like, trust and move them towards showing them how you can be a resource to them, because this is what your goal is. How can you be a resource to them? Why should they pay attention to you? What's in it for me? Answer that question in your direct mail. So I recommend that you do 2 different types of lead lists in your CRM, which is a client relationship manager. I'm sure you know that already. If not, Client Relationship Manager is a software program that you can have. It can be cloud-based or it could be on your computer. The old school way was you write things down on 3x5 cards, and that was your CRM database. Anyways, you want to capture the information of your prospects: name, address, phone number, email address, website, so on and so forth. And so in your database, you want to have 2 different tags. One tag should be for the owners of restaurants and hotels or whatever it is that you're targeting, whatever business you're targeting. And then the second group would be business brokers, because your business brokers across the nation, remember I said there's over 11,000 business brokers in the United States and maybe around the world. I don't know what that number is worldwide, but there's over 11,000 here. And those business brokers are your partners. They're the people that are on the other side of the transaction. So if you got a seller that wants to sell their Starbucks coffee shop in Jacksonville, Florida, you need a business broker that has a client that's going to bring them to buy that Starbucks that you're selling, that you're listing. And so that business broker might be in Des Moines, or they could be in Lincoln, Nebraska, or they could be in Tampa, Florida, or San Diego, California. Wherever they are, you want to connect with people everywhere that they are. All these business brokers, all 11,000 if you could, so that you can say, hey guys, and gals, I've got a Starbucks in Jacksonville, Florida, at this location. if you have a client, then let's connect, and then we can put these two people together. So you want your restaurant owners and you want business brokers. Those are your two most important lead lists or connection lists in your CRM. And you want to do direct mail outreach so you can get seen. It's way easier to get seen with a piece of mail, standard mail, than it is by email. All right, step 3, you're going to build a website. How do you build a website? What goes inside of your website? As a restaurateur, a restaurant consultant, a restaurant coach, here's what you're gonna I recommend that you include in your website. You want to start with a captivating header. So here's an example. Optimize your restaurant for revenue and profit. Book a free 10-minute diagnostic consultation. So why would this header be captivating to a restaurant owner? Well, it speaks to something that they want. Revenue and profit. Revenue is gross sales and profit is your cash flow. What do you get to keep, right? Revenue is how many sales you're making. Profit is what you get to keep, what you can spend. And in order for me to find out this thing that I want, how to optimize my restaurant so I can make more money, all it's going to require, my cost, is a 10-minute diagnostic consultation. That is a very low risk investment for any restaurateur who's very busy. Anybody can commit to this. And so if you ask for a 1-hour consultation, preliminary consultation, or even a 30-minute free consultation, you might get some pushback. You might get some hesitation. You might get some delay, right? Because we want to pause when we see something that's a little bit too much of a cost. We stop. I'm not going to spend that. Maybe if you're in the store and you see a candy bar for 50 cents, you're not even going to think about it. You just pull out the 50 cents and buy the candy bar. Well, when it comes to time, 10 minutes is a whole lot easier to buy than 30 minutes or an hour, because time is our most precious commodity. It's more valuable than money. And so a 10-minute diagnostic consultation is very low risk for them to say yes to, and it could pique their curiosity. You just want to have a brief conversation to pique their curiosity so that they will invest more time in getting to know you and what you can do for them, because we are here to serve. So the second thing that you want to do, once you create your captivating headline and you get their attention, the second thing you want to do is answer the question, what's in it for me? So I'm a restaurant owner. I want to know, what am I going to get out of this? So you give them a little quick preview, a TV commercial, if you will, of what's in it for them. Why should they invest that time? And so you can create a menu, like I showed you those pictures and descriptions, a menu of products and services that you offer that will be beneficial to them. And those are, just to reiterate what we showed you before, what I showed you previously, menu development, operational efficiency, financial management, staff training and development, and so forth. Okay, and then you want to create a video sales letter, and you want to provide a value proposition to them to really get granular, to get really clear on what it is that you're going to offer them, what it is that you're going to do for them. So here's an example that you can use that I created for you and for me. Here's the quote. Ready to supercharge your restaurant? Teaming up with a coach means your business will be on the fast track to success. Together, we'll sharpen your mission, jazz up your marketing, and bring in a stampede of hungry customers. We'll whip your menu and prices into shape, tidy up your bookkeeping, and boost that cash flow like a pro. Want to catch some Z's without worrying? Book your diagnostic intake session with me today, and let's make your dreams a reality. That on a video on your website on the first page is captivating. It speaks their language, right? Did you catch the restaurateur lingo? You want to talk their talk, show them that you are in the game, you're in the club, right? They can trust you, and get them to want to speak to you. Okay, let's take it a step further. You've piqued their interest, but you want to drive the point home. And you can do that with introducing them with a few action steps that lets them know what it's going to be like if they call you. And here's how that looks. Working with a restaurant coach is a piece of cake. Number one, let's kick things off with a quick diagnostic intake call. In just 10 minutes, we'll chat about your business dreams and what's throwing a wrench in your plans. Step two, next up, dive into a discovery session, a strategic planning session, and then ta-da, you'll receive your custom report detailing our game plan for taking your small business to the next level. Number three, get ready for a year of transformation. In about a year, you'll be strutting around like a restaurant rock star, going from chaos to smooth sailing and confusion to pure confidence. What you're doing here is you're painting a picture in their mind of what success looks like for them in their business. They can visualize it. And when they visualize, when they read this, they start daydreaming, and they're visualizing themselves in a better you 2.0, right? Like them 2.0, a better version of themselves. And when you can get them to visualize that, when they can see the future opportunity, they see themselves in the shoes of a successful person, they overcome their challenges, make more profit, then they're going to be much more enticed to pick up the phone and call you. So I have a sample sales script that you can use for your video sales letter, and it will help you to captivate your prospects. It'll help you to inspire them. It'll help you to secure that initial consultation. And I'll be happy to share that with you if you reach out to me. And I'll give you my contact information at the end. But actually, here it is right here. So I actually posted it right here for you. So if you download the presentation, you can get this, this video sales letter that you can use when you speak to your clients. Okay, number 4, write your direct mail and your email sales letters. That's the next step. In your email and in your direct mail letters, you want to do a few things. Number 1, you want to build rapport. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And by establishing rapport, you're going to set the table for starting the conversation. Raise the stakes. The way that you raise the stakes is by you put some salt on their wounds. Consultants that are most successful at creating opportunities, though, they not only articulate the afflictions that the people are struggling with, but they also provide solutions. And so that's your next step. You want to touch the wound, put salt on the wound, but then also show them the out forward. And by doing that, you provide solutions. You focus on the prospect's aspirations. What is it that they want to achieve? That way you can directly influence their agenda. You inspire them to take action and get them dreaming about the possibilities that they can achieve by working with you as their Yoda, right? They're Luke Skywalker, you're Yoda. And you can guide them to the promised land, to the future, right? To a new hope, give them a new hope. And another way to captivate the prospective client is by sharing impact stories. And the way that you do that is you help them dive into a story where they put themselves into the shoes of the main character. We do that when we watch movies all the time, or TV shows. And so you share anecdotal stories of how other restaurateurs have overcome their pain points. And by walking them through that story that they read, that you share with, you can either email it to them or you can send them send a copy of it with your sales letter. And you put in their minds, they start painting a picture in their mind of being in that situation. They role play, right? And they say, wow, if it worked for them, it could work for me too. And they start seeing the benefits in their mind, the benefits of working with you. And they start coming to the conclusion without even you asking them to hire you. They start thinking, you know what, I need to hire this person. And of course, you can't end like that. You have to use a call to action. You get their attention. You show them what the next logical step is, which is that 10-minute initial client diagnostic call, so that you can ask a few strategic questions to, number 1, bring up their pain points, and number 2, bring up their aspirations. And you also build some rapport with them. They get to see that you're a human being and they're not talking to a chat bot. And you get them thinking about wanting to change. That will help them make the decision to take the next step. And then step 5 of this 8-step plan is for you to map out your ideal client avatar sales journey. So when you do your outreach, what are you going to do to get them to become a customer? Number one, you build your client database, which you can go onto Yelp for your city, and you can look up restaurants in your immediate area, and you'll probably come up with 50 to 200 restaurants within a 5-mile radius. And so that could become your first client list, prospect list, I mean. So you do your direct mail outreach, and in your direct mail outreach, you invite them to view your website. You invite them to read an anecdotal story where they can start visualizing the benefits of working with you. And you use a call to action to get them to pick up the phone and call you for a 10-minute diagnostic intake. That after you do that diagnostic, you want to send them a questionnaire with about 20 to 50 questions that dives deeper into the different areas of their business so that you can really get a better understanding of what's going on in the company. After you receive that information, you're going to do a discovery session with them, which is probably going to last about 2 hours long. And then that discovery session, you're going to clarify their answers. And I have a script that you can use, and I'd be happy to share that with you in the future if you reach out to me. You can use this diagnostic discovery session call script to walk them through the information that you gathered already, get clarification, and upend or unearth some other things that weren't mentioned in the questionnaire, because people are always generally pretty rushed, and so they may not give the attention that's really required for you to dig deep into how you can create a plan of working with them and solving their problems and helping them achieve their aspirational goals. So after the 2-hour diagnostic, after the 2-hour real true diagnostic, the discovery call, then the next step is to come up with a strategy session. After you've done some research, you've talked to people that are involved, the stakeholders in the business, your next step is to create a strategy session with the owner. And I say with the owner very specifically because you want them involved in coming up with the solution. When the owner comes up with the solution, they're going to be more invested in it working. And so by you co-creating the solution with them, looking at all the research that you've gathered, exercising your expertise, right? Because you've done your research, you know this content. You've done some research to figure out what you don't know, right? Because we don't know everything. We can't possibly memorize everything, and things are changing anyway. And so we need to do some research and figure out what would be the best possible solution to this problem that they're dealing with. And we present that to them and let them come up with some modifications to that possible solution, or 2 or 3 options, and let them decide on what's the best choice of those 2 or 3 options that you have. It's always good to have 2 or 3 options. And so at the end of that 4-hour session, you come down with the notes that you need to input into your proposal. And so you're going to do 2 things. You're going to create a business proposal, which could be a PowerPoint presentation. It could be a PDF document, a printed out document. And you're going to propose how you guys could work together going forward, whether it be a one-time project or a long-term project. You're going to present your findings, how you can work with them to achieve that goal, and your cost, right? And how that cost can be broken down. What options do you offer? And again, you could think about that 3-tier pricing, and you could even think about consulting for equity as an option. If they're tight on funds, you could get a percentage. If you see that it could be beneficial to work with them on a very long term, right? You could potentially partner up as a strategic consultant for them and take a small share of equity in the company to provide your services to them, and then you get a piece of the profit of the business. So that's an opportunity for you as well. And then that proposal should last about an hour long, and you should have an engagement letter that you would send to the client. If they agree to move forward, they say, yes, I want to do this. I believe that this is in the best interest of my company, my restaurant, and I want to go ahead and proceed with this. They will sign the engagement letter, and they will submit their first payment to you, or the full payment, however they want to do that. And you move from the sales journey into production. Now it's time to deliver, right? The promise that you convey. So that's the sales journey for consulting for restaurant coaching and consulting. Step 6 is to create SMART goals. And in order for you to create SMART sales goals, you need to know how much money you hope to make. And in order for you to achieve that goal, whatever that number is, let's say it's $75,000 in consulting fees, how many leads turn into meetings, client intake calls, diagnostic calls? You're going to do this. You're going to practice what you preach. You're going to send your outreach. You're going to see how many calls come in, and you're going to track your numbers. Okay, let's say last week I sent out 100 letters, and out of that 100 letters, I received 2 phone calls. Okay, well, out of those 2 phone calls, one of them proceeded forward with a discovery call and a strategy session, and then actually closed that transaction. Then, and I want to close 10 transactions a year. Well, then if I continue to send out 100 a month, I could probably close 10 transactions in a year. Okay, but if I want to do 20 or 30 transactions, then I need to send out 200 or 300 letters every month or every week, however you want to break it down, to see how your numbers change. And so by tracking how many leads convert to meetings, how many outreach, when I say leads, direct outreach, I'm just talking about sending out letters, 100 stamped enveloped letters in the mail. How many of those 100 envelopes turn into 10-minute calls? How many of those 10-minute calls turn into 2-hour calls? How many of those 2-hour calls turn into a 4-hour strategy session? And how many of those strategy sessions that you hold turn into an engagement letter, a contract? So you track your numbers and make modifications to your outreach so that you can get to that closed number that you aspire to achieve. Number 7, in addition to your direct mail outreach and email outreach and your paid advertising, you should also consider building or joining restaurant community groups. This is where you're going to be inviting restaurateurs, whether they own a cafe or a deli or a franchise or their own restaurant concept, into workshops and meetups. So as a restaurant consultant, you are the wizard of all things culinary. You've got to master the magical art of restaurant management and whip up a storm in your clients' operations. By crafting services that are like a buffet you'll not only stand out, but you'll also serve up a delicious competitive edge in this bustling marketplace. So workshops and meetups are 2 great ways for you to showcase your skills and connect face-to-face with prospects. And lastly, step 8 is to work on your coaching and consulting skills. And the way that you're going to work on your coaching and consulting skills is by practice, by getting somebody to sit down and pretend to be your prospect, right? You can role play going through the process of doing a 10-minute diagnostic call, going through the process of asking deep questions so that you can figure out what their pains and their aspirations are, so you can solve those problems during the diagnostic discovery call. Then practice working on a strategic plan, getting the questionnaire filled out, looking at the interview results, your notes from that interview, and working with your prospective client to come up with a creative strategy to achieve their goals and to solve their problems. And so by practicing this over and over again, you're going to get better. And so here's a few things that I recommend that you do in order to get better, to hone your skills of becoming a good coach and consultant in the restaurant space. Before your discovery call, to have a productive conversation with the restaurant owner or manager, the operator, you want to research the business and you want to understand their role and their responsibilities and their challenges and their key performance indicators or KPIs. Also, you want to identify their potential needs for assistance. You want to prepare tailored questions to uncover the needs and to develop an informed hypothesis, right? Which is an educated guess based on your information that you found that will help guide your discussion in the discovery call. You want to familiarize yourself with the details and benefits of your products and services so that you can speak eloquently about how you can solve their problems and how they have been useful in helping other clients in similar situations of whatever it is that they're going through. During the discovery call, for stellar results, you want to whip up a delightful cocktail of open-ended and closed-ended questions. You want to use both so that you can explore their problems and their frustrations and their pains and their challenges, and you want to figure out what it is that they hope to accomplish. All right, so you start with the big picture, and then you zoom in on the nitty-gritty, the details, the granular stuff. And that way you can reveal the owner-operator's vibes about their needs. How do they feel about their needs? How concerned are they? Are they really concerned? Are they stressed out? Or are they kind of ambivalent about it and they don't really care? What happens? Because they're just too aloof. They're in a different place. Something else is going on that's attracting their attention. Well, whatever it is, you want to coax them into sharing whatever it is that they want to achieve, their secret wish list, if you will. And you want to gather up all of that juicy information so that you can jazz up a really nice sales pitch with irresistible solutions to have them itching to take action and hire you as their coach or consultant. And then after this discovery call, this is what you want to practice. You want to practice nailing down your next steps. After a delightful gathering with your prospect, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's that 10-minute call, or a 2-hour discourse during your discovery call, what happens is it's easy to be swept away by the allure of that immediate proposal that you want to create and send it to them, but you can't do that. You need to go through these next 3 steps, which is number 1, you want to craft a dazzling summary email that encapsulates the points that you covered during the discovery call that you explored with them so that you can ensure that you and the owner are aligned with what they want to achieve. And you want to email that to them after the discovery call so that you can get some clarification and get some buy-in and show them that you were paying attention to what they were telling you. That's very important. You need to listen well to be a good consultant. Number 2, you want to invite them to review and confirm anything and everything from that consultation to see that if anything was missing, and then you want to show them some additional next steps, right, that you can go through in the strategy session. You want to kind of like entice them to think about what that next step is going to look like so that they'll proceed forward and they'll schedule that strategy session right away. And the last thing you want to do is you want to keep the sales momentum up by inviting them to a lunch meeting where you can show the proposal, right? Because hey, they work in the restaurant space, right? If they do, it's because they love restaurants and dining. So invite them to a lunch meeting. It's a great way to get belly to belly, right? The best transactions that happen, the best sales generally happen belly to belly, which means it's over lunch or dinner, and show them what they can achieve, what they can hope to achieve if they go ahead and proceed with hiring you as their coach or consultant. Okay, let's recap the 8 steps that we just went through in this long hour and 18 minutes. We want to help you build this restaurant and coaching and consulting business by following these 8 steps. Number 1, create a menu of products and services. Number 2, create and manage a prospect list. When I say manage, it means it's ongoing. And number 3, build a beautiful website with all of the things that we covered in this presentation. Number 4, write your sales letters. That's your direct mail outreach, your email outreach, and your paid advertising on social media. Number 5, you want to map out your ideal client avatar sales journey. And those are the 4 steps, right? The initial client diagnostic intake call, 10 minutes. The discovery call, 2 hours. The strategic planning, 2 to 4 hours. And then the lunch proposal, that's an hour meeting. So that's an example of your sales journey. And that's the one that I'm using in my business, and I highly recommend that you do as well. And then the next step is to create smart sales goals. You got to track your numbers. How many outreaches are you creating? What does that turn into? How many go from a letter in the mail to an engagement letter? Number 7, you want to build your own or join other small groups, meetups in the restaurant space so that you can network with restaurateurs, because they can either become your client or they can refer you to somebody who can become your client. And this is a great way, those small groups are a great way for you to stay abreast of what innovations are coming forward those conversations will lead to your competitive advantages that you can use to provide to your future clients. And lastly, you want to work on your coaching skills by role playing with others until you have clients to work with. And then after every consultation that you have, after you've done your job of the questioning, the research, and so forth, finding two to three different opportunities for them to exercise in order to solve whatever problem it is or achieve whatever goal it is. Give them some options to choose from. Always give them options to choose from. You also want to think and journal how you feel like you did. You can even ask them at the end of it. You can send them a survey. I've got some samples of that too. If you want one, you can ask me about that. Send me an email, and I can share that with you. Some surveys that you can send them to find out how good or bad of a job you did in your consultation, in your diagnostic call, in your discovery session, at lunch. And so that way you can make modifications to get better, because you're not going to be perfect. None of us are perfect. And even if you were super great at this, you're going to make mistakes along the way. It just happens. We're human beings, right? We make mistakes, but you can learn from your mistakes, and you should want to learn from your mistakes. I know I do. And so by having that feedback, right, that customer feedback, client feedback, we can make modifications to get better so that the next one is better than the one that we did today. Same thing with my writing. I feel like my writing is way better than it was in 2012 when I started writing books. And I feel like I'm just at the beginning. Like I've got so much more growth ahead of me, and I'm looking forward to it. I know that my books are going to just get better and better as I go along, especially with AI as my virtual assistant now. You know what I mean? So anyways, work on your coaching skills so you can get better, and it'll help improve your bottom line as well. So lastly, I want to invite you to connect with me. If you're ready to supercharge this journey and becoming a restaurant coach or consultant or a business broker, I'm looking to hire at Coleman Tanner Commercial. If you feel like this might be an opportunity for you to hang your shingle as a business broker and specialize in restaurant sales, or even some other type of small business brokerage, and you're in Florida, I'm operating currently. I'm a member of the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors and Miami Association of Realtors, and I'm looking to hire commercial real estate agents to specialize in business brokerage in Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, and here in Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Fernandina Beach. So that I eventually will grow into Tampa and Orlando and so forth. There's like 10 different locations in Florida that I want to have a presence in. So if you're interested in working with me in the commercial real estate space and business brokerage specifically, I would love to know that. Or if you want to become a consultant or a coach, a restaurant coach and consultant with Coleman Tanner Consulting, I want to know that too. You can reach out to me and let me know that you're interested by sending me an email at john@colemantanner.com or call me on my office phone, 904-698-2014. I don't answer the phone, but I'll get back to you. So just leave a message, and I respond to my calls within 24 hours. Unless I don't want to talk to you, which if you're calling me for this, I want to talk to you. And I want to show you my link also. I think if I click here, it might open up my link tree. Oh no, it went somewhere else. Anyways, if you go to link tr.ee/John W. Tanner, then you can see my my LinkedIn page. And I'm sorry, all my links, my link tree, linktr.ee/John W. Tanner, and you'll see a whole bunch of resources that are available there for you so that we can get to know each other a little bit better. And that's it. That wraps up this presentation. So thank you so much for joining me. I was hoping to have this done in 45 minutes. It looks like we went an hour and 24 minutes here. So thank you very much for your time. I hope I added value and taught you something that you'll consider using in the near future in your business endeavors. So again, thank you, and I'll see you inside of the next workshop. Y'all take care, and wishing you lots of success. Bye for now.